Okay, so here are the rails, and here is our show.
Completely off. Completely gone today. What in the world? Derailed. Yay, you're here. Welcome to the CK and GK podcast. Let's get going.
Check it. Tuesday!
Oh, wow. Good job. Good job. That was not expected. I liked it. Anyway, we're so glad you're here. Today we're talking about my own personal struggle and maybe yours too. But if you're struggling to get your child to open up about their days at school or anything else in their lives, maybe you want them to talk to you about something, but you don't know how to do that. So if your attempts to have conversations with your child are met with dead air, much like an awkward podcast moment, this episode is for you.
But before we do that, we need to introduce each other. And with me, as always, is Caitlin. But this week, we're going to call her the Louvre because she's a work of art.
Oh, that's cute. Have you seen that episode of Will and Grace where Grace says that she visited the Louvre and she went through it at a dead run because she didn't even want to see anything in it? That's where I thought you were going with this. Well, as always, we have Jenny, my vivacious rainbow of joy, who I just love so much. We haven't talked to each other, like I haven't seen your face in a while. Yeah.
I know.
So I'm glad you're here. Let's do this.
Okay, so this week we're going to do things differently.
Yes.
We are going to start with the meat of the show.
Yes.
And then rather than appetizers, we have dessert for you.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good way of looking at it. So I'm all about full transparency here. Yes. We've gotten some feedback that says, hey, this show is great, but you have to wait to get to what they're actually talking about, which, by the way, I do put chapter markers in the show. So if you are someone who wants to skip to the actual meat, you could click on the chapter marker. That is there for you. You're welcome. But
so fancy.
Because we have gotten that feedback, I do want to give this a shot. We'll do the main course. Yes?
Yes.
And then we'll do the dessert. I like it. Okay?
Okay.
So we're going to start. I just have to ask you this question. What is one of the most effective tools in the teacher toolbox? What's one of your favorites?
I like, what are you supposed to be doing?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Instead of what are you doing, what should you be doing? Right.
That is very similar to the where are we supposed to be right now?
Right.
To the hallway wanderer children. Yes. Where are we supposed to be right now? That was one of the lines I used to use all the time. Here's one of my favorites. Sentence starters.
Oh, yes. I like that maybe you could.
Right. I like them as an adult. I will say to my boss, like, hey, I know you would like me to negotiate for XYZ. How would you start that conversation? How would you say that so that I can then fill in the blanks with the missing pieces? Yes?
Yes.
So basically, that's what we're doing here today. So we've got 75 great conversation starters for kids of all ages is the reference that I'm using. It's by Emma. Yeah. No, I don't have all 75.
We got 75.
No. I have 15 that I took from the 75.
Okay.
But the article that I stole this information from is called 75 Great Conversation. Cool. Yeah. It's by Emma Singer for Pure Wow. And she also references an article by in Psychology Today. Let's try that again. She references an article in Psychology Today by a professor of psychology at UCSD named Gail Heyman. So I'll be using both of those references, but I do want to say that we've kind of touched on this subject before because we talked about it when we were talking about small talk, right? We mentioned it's a really good idea to have some topics in mind when you know you're headed into a potentially awkward situation in which you will need small talk. So it works with adults. It also works for kids.
That's pretty much true of a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I have noticed that the people who don't know how to interact with kids because they haven't been around them and who do talk to them like they are small adults often tend to be a hit with kids. Have you noticed that?
True.
My husband is that way. Like, he's not like super kid oriented necessarily, or he wasn't before he had his own kid, but then he would see them in the airport and he'd be like, "Hey kid, how you doing?" And the kids would be like all over him. And meanwhile, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how are you? So cute. Oh my God, you're mom." And they don't even pay any attention to me at all.
Those shoes
They
are so
me.
cool. Do they help you jump high?
Oh my God, do they light up? And they'd be like, "Yeah." And then my husband would be like, "Hey.
Cool shoes, man."
Yeah, exactly. And just gravitate like moth to a flame. It was unbelievable. So yes, in a sense, you are having a conversation with a mini adult, sort of, right?
Sort of.
But here's why conversation starters are so helpful for kids. One, you're teaching them valuable social skills, aka how they go into a situation with small talk and handle it themselves, right? Also, you are establishing a dynamic in which they are more likely to come to you in the event that they actually need to talk about something, right? You're
because
giving
it's not
them
awkward
structure.
to talk to mom or dad,
right,
or whatever your role is in their life. They already have some comfortability built.
Right. They are icebreakers. They set the stage for meaningful conversation. And they help you not fall into the, I guess every parent probably hates this, one-word answer, like good. Q&A that happens. Right.
Fine.
Right. Mm-hmm. And as teachers, we've heard these complaints from kids quite a lot, right? It's like, every time I get in the car, my mom's like, "Hi, how are you? What you been doing? How was your day?" And the kids are like, "Please just shut up for a second. I love you, but I can't handle this right now." And so they give you one-word answers, right? So if you have these questions in your back pocket, maybe you won't get one-word answers. Okay. So these good conversation starters are things that steer clear of the one-word answer. For example, "Did you like your lunch today?" You will either get a yes or a no or a right? Those are the only answers you get. "Do you have a lot of homework?"
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah.
No.
All answers you will get if you ask questions that have a did or a do or a was or whatever. So the other thing you don't want to ask is any question that has a right or a wrong answer.
Oh, that is clever. If you're starting the conversation, you want it to be low risk socially.
Exactly. You don't want your kid to feel judged by any answer that they provide. So no right or wrongs and no yes or no's. Okay. So here's some tips. And again, I'm going to give you 15 of them, but all of them kind of follow these guidelines and you can make up your own if you wanted to. Specific questions are always better than general ones. Okay. We've touched on this when we're talking about how do you help a new mom? Mm-hmm. Yes. You don't say, "What do you need done?" You say, "I can do the dishes or I can do the laundry. Which one helps you the most?" Right. You give them something specific. So you wouldn't say, "How was school?" Right. Because you just draw a blank. Instead, you say, "How was the math test that I know you had today?" Right. It's a specific question. It's something that's easier for them to answer. And maybe it jogs their memory about something else that happened during the day. Okay.
Perfect.
Don't stress if the conversation doesn't just like pick up immediately. Not every conversation feels organic and picks up right away, right?
Right. Especially if they just got in the car, like you said. The kid is cooked. They need a few minutes to themselves. And it's not that they aren't happy to see you. It's that they feel safe and secure around you. And they know that they can let their guard down a little bit once they get in the car. So maybe what that child needs is just a few minutes to themselves in their safe space before they're ready to engage socially again.
Totally. And some kids respond better to certain questions than other kids, right? Like you might find some of these questions are super helpful for you, and you might find some of them are just a complete swing and a miss, right? And that's okay. You're just going to try and test a few out before you know which ones are going to be the most likely to have your kid open up. Plus, there's also a really good chance that, like you said, your kid's just not feeling it in that moment.
Yeah.
Maybe
and what works on Tuesday might not on Wednesday.
Oh, how many times have you been there as a parent, right? Like you finally have the potty training bribe figured out and then the next day that bribe stops working, right? It's going to be like that for these questions as well. Make sure you time it right. The instant your kid gets in the car as they're throwing their backpack in the back seat, not the best time to ask those questions. Do you like being bombarded with questions when you first enter the door of your house? No. It's the same thing. Don't do that to your kid, right? If you're doing
you can greet them.
Yeah.
Right? You can say, I'm glad to see you. I hope you had a great day. We're going to go do X, Y, and Z now. You don't have to just be silent, but don't necessarily expect to pull information from the child as they first enter the car.
Right. I actually like to use that opportunity to shove a snack into my child's hand.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you get in the car, okay. Oh, hey, buddy, it's so nice to see you. Hand over the granola bar, let them eat silently. And then when they start talking again, then I'm like, okay, it's safe. It's safe to speak. All right.
Blood sugar stabilized.
Right, exactly. Stave off the hanger. Here we go. And then also another tip is to share something about yourself, right? Especially with teenagers, this tends to work, but also when you're talking to any kid of any age. And I know this works with teenagers because I've taught teenagers, but how many times have you just like started a conversation by saying, have you ever, and then you kind of lay out what happened to you. For example, have you ever tried to take a drink of water and the water just sort of dribbles out the side of your face and down your shirt and you just get soaking wet? Well, that just happened to me. Has anything frustrating like that happened to you today where you just felt like an idiot in front of everybody? Something like that. Right?
So good. So good.
Right. The example that I saw in that article was, oh my gosh, I dropped my lunch on the floor today and it made me so mad. Did anything like that happen to you today that upset you? Right? Like,
that's great. Whatever. That's really great.
Yeah. I like to do the embarrassing ones. Those tend to be
here's how I embarrassed myself today.
Right. Exactly. Which is part of the premise of this show. You're welcome. So here are a few sentence starters from that list of 75. No, I'm not going through all of them. That is insane. But I did link them in the show notes for this episode and you can go grab them. These were just a few that kind of stuck out to me. And on that list, they're not organized by like big kid, middle kid, like little kid, right? They're sort of just kind of smooshed together. So I took a few of them and sort of organized them and categorized them for which ones I would use for which age group. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm starting with littles and I categorize littles as like K through 4, not like itty bitties. Itty bitties will talk to you about their dinosaur and make noises for you. That they're easy, right? It's like once they go to school and they get in the back of the car and they don't say anything and they don't tell you anything about their day. That's when you need to pull these questions out. So what's your favorite thing about your teacher?
Ooh,
I like that one. What's your favorite part of the day? What's your favorite cartoon character and why? I'm going to get a lot of Sonic out of that one if I ask my child.
Right.
If our pet could talk, what do you think they would say? Which I thought was a very cute one.
That is a fun one.
And who's the nicest person you know?
Ooh.
Right? Some of those are just really like, you're going to get some good conversation out of them.
Right.
And if you ask that last one, you're going to get a really cute answer, I promise. Okay. For middles, I said this was like 5th through 8th-ish.
Right.
It depends on your 8th grader, but yeah. Do you like dinner or breakfast foods better?
That's great.
I'm going to say breakfast.
That is a good one.
And I'm going to answer with waffles. What's your favorite holiday?
I had a kid in 5th grade ask me that this week.
Really?
Yes.
What answer did you give?
Thanksgiving.
Interesting. That's my husband's favorite.
Oh, I love Thanksgiving.
Why do you love Thanksgiving?
I love Thanksgiving because number one, like the foods are only for Thanksgiving. Like I do not eat roast turkey for anything else. I know some people make it at Christmas time. I don't.
At Christmas,
like, it is just Thanksgiving, and stuffing is just Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, stuffing's just Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm.
But also in my family, we go around the table and say what we're thankful for the year, and we have this written assumption that family, health, financial stability, all of those are already assumed. So you don't have to do that thing of like, oh, I'm really feeling thankful for my family. Like, yeah, we know. Okay, move on.
Yeah.
Like we get to really reflect on the year together and think about something fun. And sometimes it's funny things.
Yeah.
But the idea that we kind of spend some time reflecting as a family is really nice.
I love that. See, look at that. Ask the question and then conversation begins. Thank you. What do you think is the best part about being a grown-up?
Ooh.
I love asking that of kids who are in the middle range because they're like starting to look forward to being a grown-up, but they also still get all the benefits of being a kid. I think that's a fun one.
That is good.
And if you had a magic wand, what's the first thing you would do with it? Right? Because they're still little enough to kind of go with the magic wand concept.
Yes.
But they're not. Yeah, but they have some really big ideas. I thought that was a cute one.
I like that one too because it's also not like if you only had 3 wishes to where they have to like actually think about, okay, well, I can only do 3 things.
Only get 3, right?
I have this magic wand. I yield the power.
Right.
It's just my first thing.
Right.
That's so good.
Oh my gosh, please do that with your students. I'm dying to know what the answer would be.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
All right. This is for I called them biggles on my notes. So we got littles, middles, and biggles.
Okay.
I don't know why I called them biggles. I just thought it was l's noises. But this is, I thought 8th grade and bigger. Yes. So like a little bit of crossover with some of the other ones. But
sure.
Which school rule do you wish you could get rid of?
Nice.
Right?
Definitely plays right into the teen mindset.
Right.
And it allows for complaint and pushing back against authority in a way that's respectful.
Right.
Like recognizing it is a school rule, but I would get rid of it because that's cool.
And they're most likely going to say something that to me is probably totally legit. Right? Like my school had like
assigned seats at lunch or something.
Right. Yeah. Or like the no hat rule. Okay, explain to me how no hats is a really big issue. If you're worried about them writing things on the brim and cheating, make them turn it around. It's not that big of a deal. They can wear their hat backwards during the test in the tournament. Like who cares?
I had a professor in college who only had one rule in his class and it was no ball caps.
Ugh.
But he didn't care if you just took it off and put it on your desk. He just didn't want you to wear it in his classroom. And I was like, okay, totally reasonable. 100% reasonable. I don't want you to wear a hat in my class. It's all right.
So
and remember, I was a wildlife and fisheries major. So all the bubbas would come in with their hats and they would just take it off as they went in and put it down on their desk. And then they put it right back on as soon as they're leaving.
Oh, all right. I mean, that's fine.
Right. That's not no hats at school. Anyway, that's not the point. But the point is...
Again, but see? Conversation starter.
Right.
See?
Ooh.
Which of your friends is easiest to talk to?
Ooh.
It's a deep one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If you were a parent, what rules would you have?
Oh, flip the script?
Mm-hmm. And also, though, that one is one that you can have a conversation about, and it can create some buy-in for why there are certain expectations at your house, which I liked. What's the nicest thing anyone has ever said to you? Mm-hmm. And this one can be just for fun. Who is someone you'd really like to meet? Could be anybody, right?
Could be anyone.
Yeah, right. There are so many good ones on this list. I was really thinking like, oh, I'm going to add this one and this one. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, I now have like 9 for each group and I really need to slow my roll. I'm going to keep it at the 15. So if you want to know more conversation starters,
like approximately 60 more.
Right. Not approximately. Exactly. 60 more. You can go to the link in our show notes and it'll take you right to that article.
Love it.
All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we're back.
All right. It's time for dessert.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me
too. The cart has come by and I will be choosing the current obsession and the gem of the week.
Go for it.
Okay. So I am currently obsessed with fall weather.
Yes, I have sweatpants on.
Okay.
It's definitely not cold enough for sweatpants, but I don't care.
No, it's dropped into the 70s, which is incredible. The other day it was 80 and I rolled my windows down and I listened to music. I mean, it was great. But today it was in the high 50s when I'm getting ready to go out.
Oh, yeah.
And I put on fake leather pants.
Nice.
And a flannel. And a vest. And when I came out of my closet, John looks at me and says, I like your outfit. It's Sandy from Greece goes to the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, that's good. Well done.
I was like, okay,
I
maybe
love
I'll
that
change.
show.
I have jeans. And he was like, nah, own it.
Sandy from Greece goes to the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
I love it. It's perfect. I do love these temperatures. It's finally fall. It's finally starting to feel like fall. There's been a lighting change. Have you noticed the way the sun shines is different in Texas too? Oh man, that's nice. Well, I do also enjoy these temperatures, but right now I'm enjoying very much Big Brother. Now, we both know I have a problem with reality television.
Is it a problem?
No, I actually don't think it is a problem. I really love
it. Some people might label it a problem, but for you, it's just a healthy affection.
Right. It is not a guilty pleasure because I get joy out of it, and I refuse to feel guilty for something I get pleasure out of. So there you go. But this season of Big Brother, this is season 25, which also, by the way, 25 seasons of this show? Oh, yeah. I first got hooked on it when I went to London, actually.
John just told me that Dane Cook is 50.
Ew, what?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I was like, wait, what? Dane Cook?
No.
Like, everybody had to have a CD in college, Dane Cook? And he was like, yeah, he's 50.
No, I don't like it.
Yeah, no, sorry, go back.
No,
Big Brother, watching it in London. Keep going.
I was watching it in London, and they made this girl sing Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes like 1,000 times in one night as a punishment for something. And she's like, head, shoulder. And she had to do the dance with it. I was just like, this poor girl. And then the other thing that made me laugh is there's this one chick who had 2 gems of a line. And one of them was, this guy's like all in her business. And she's like, you don't need to be in my business. And he's like, yes, I do. It's my business. And she's like, no, it's not. You're not a reporter. And I just died laughing. Like, she's telling him he's not a reporter, so he doesn't need to be in her business. Hilarious. And then the other one she said was, why don't you go find some traffic and have a play in it? And I was like, okay, I'm hooked on this show. So I've been watching Big Brother. I didn't watch last season. I don't like to watch the celebrity seasons. They're not really my thing. But this is the first one that I've been watching in a while where there isn't just one person or one group dominating the entire thing. There's people disrupting alliances. Oh, man. I'm like, I truly don't know. There's one person who's kind of dominating competitions and like causing chaos in the house on purpose, which is hilarious. But also, like, there have just been different alliances in control the entire season. So I'm here for it. Well done, Big Brother season 25. Y'all are killing it. Looks great. Keep it up. Very entertaining. Season. It is a landmark season for sure. All right. You picked the gem of the week off the cart. Let's hear it. What's your gem?
Okay, so we're driving to school the other day, and Abigail hands me her yogurt, which she's like very into French yogurt right now.
Oh, like that whatever that stuff is called?
Yes, here's the deal. Like, I was like, French yogurt, Yoplait? And John's like, no, not Yoplait. I'm like, Yoplait French? Like,
it is French.
And she was like, no, it's this like special yogurt from the gourmet grocery store, and it comes like in a little ceramic pot, whatever. So obviously they don't sell that at our neighborhood grocery store. So John got her to just eat which is the fancy Yoplait. So I was right all along. But anyway, and it comes in little glass jars, not pottery, but they're still nice.
Nice.
So we're driving to school, and she hands me her yogurt and says, can you open this for me? I have morning hands.
Oh. What's a morning hand?
Yeah. I was like, excuse me? You have morning hands? Just, like when you wake up and your hands are really weak and you can't like grab things. I said, no, I don't know about that. Like I hold my toothbrush every morning with no problems. She says, no, morning hands. It's like a thing. I was like, it's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
And like, stop trying to make fetch happen. Like, just because you say it more doesn't mean it's real. Morning hands.
Oh, bless her sweet little heart. I did open the yogurt so much. That was nice of you.
Yeah. I mean, but after I made fun of her for her morning hands.
Yeah, you had to. That's going to be a thing she's going to keep hearing about until she's like in her 20s. You're going to be like, sorry, I know you can't make coffee in the morning.
She's going to bring her grandchildren, or my grandchildren, she's going to bring them to my house and be like, oh, well, your mom couldn't open this because she had morning hands.
Exactly. Oh, man. Well, I finally went and got a massage for the first time in forever. And if you are a former student of mine, you will know exactly what I'm talking about here. But I have a tattoo on the inside of my forearm, and it is in Kelly green ink. Yes. And every year at the beginning of the school year, I would tell the kids, hey, I have many piercings in my ears. I now have a piercing in my nose. I have tattoos. I am not teacher. These are tattoos. The ink is not going anywhere.
Right, you're right.
Even this one that's green. Like, it's not a black tattoo like you're used to seeing. It's a green tattoo. I swear it's a tattoo. And they'd be like, no, it's not. And I would like lick my finger and try to rub it off and like wash it in front of them to prove that it's real. And they would finally go, okay, it's real. And then like, in February, they'd be like, wait, how come you write on your arm in the same way every single day? Like, they would just completely space out that it's a tattoo. Yeah. So when I went and got my massage, my masseur stops dead in his tracks and he's like, oh. And I was like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? This is not, I'm in a vulnerable state right here. Could you just not gasp? Like, and I really was like, you're freaking me out. And he goes, I'm going to rub your ink off of your arm. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, the lotion, it's going to ruin the writing on your arm. And I was like, oh baby, no, that's a tattoo. And he was like, what? No, it's not. And I was like, okay, it's not. Like, yeah. So then he starts massaging it and he's like, oh my gosh, that's so wild. And he like spent the next 5 minutes talking about my tattoo on my arm because he didn't believe that it wasn't going to stay on.
Because it wasn't black ink.
Right.
Which is so funny because colorful tattoos are everywhere now.
Right, but they're outlined, a lot of them, right? Like there's black on them, so you can tell,
Yeah.
This one is just,
it really does look like green marker.
like green Sharpie on my arm every single day, which I get, but I also am like, and
you would have to get up really early because with morning hands, I'm not sure that you would be able to write.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd be able to write. It's really hard, and I can't grip the pencil correctly. It's just so strange. I don't know. I mean, wow. Anyway. Oh man, you guys.
Right, well, that brings us.
That does it. It's a shorty.
End. It's the weirdest
it's a shorty
one, but it's good.
I know.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, today we heard about different ways to engage young people in conversation, and when you're looking through that list of 75, make good choices.
Yep. And carry around a sentence starter or question in your back pocket because you never know when you might be able to use it. So, Jenny, what's your favorite? No, I'd change it. What's your least favorite chore?
Ooh, my least.
No, don't answer that right now. We're going to go. Bye.
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.